Again then guys, and welcome to another Special Projects custom build, and this time we're making a racing style build for a very capable supercar concept, the Cadillac Cien, which is of course Spanish for 100. It's Cadillac's birthday present to themselves, and I personally think that this is a real shame that this car wasn't produced as a supercar, because it's an incredible concept. I personally think it's a fantastic looking machine. It has a Targa top, which many people don't realise. You can actually take the roof off. It has an incredible engine, a North Star 7.5 litre V12. It could have in effect been America's answer to the Zonda, but it didn't happen, and that's a shame. But what if it did happen? And then what if there was a racing version? Now of course, that's pretty out there, it's far-fetched, it didn't happen, and now it probably never will. But what if it had? Well, that's the point of this special project custom build. So as far as the visuals, I've fitted the Type A special wing, which is just a flat rear wing. Obviously not being a replica, you've got room for variation there. You could choose a different wing if you wanted to. You cannot adjust the rims on this car, or change the rims, I should say. As far as the body colour, I've gone for pretty much the darkest black you can get on the game without using the glitched black, because of course that's a solid black, whereas this still has that shine to it and looks really good on this car. And the colour is called Ebony. It comes from the Jaguar S-Type, and it's a fantastic looking colour. And I would recommend having it not just for this, but for other cars as well, because it really does look good. Now, that's all I've done, visually, just the wing and the colour. So, we'll go over first of all to the mechanical tuning garage for the setup that I've done there, and then of course take it out to a track to prove exactly what it's capable of. Now this particular build of course does have lots of room for personal variation because it's not a real machine. I've gone for racing softs, but obviously in most situations you'll be using racing hards or sports hards even, etc. As far as the suspension, I've got the ride height as low as possible, which still actually isn't overly low on this car. It does still have a decent amount of ride height. The springs I've increased to 1250, and that should have been on 1450, I'm not sure why that changed. The dampers we've got on 5, anti-roll on 3, neutral camber, neutral toe. We'll come back to the gearbox last, as we often do. As far as the diff, as usual, I would recommend changing this to work what's best for you into the equation, but I've gone for halfway on initial torque and acceleration and braking as low as possible. As far as power, as I said, you can change this for whatever PP or needs you have in certain lobbies or seasonal events, etc. I've gone for an oil change and then no power upgrades and reduced the power down to 76.4%, and I've added a 12 kilo ballast along with the full weight loss package, and I've put that ballast to 39% towards the front, because it's my personal belief, and probably the belief of some others as well, that the perfect weight distribution for, in particular, a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car is actually not 50-50. Many people assume that 50-50 is the best. I don't believe that it is, and there are two primary reasons why I would say that. One reason is because having slightly more weight over the rear wheels helps to ground them, especially under hard acceleration. Having more weight makes the car less inclined to spin up those wheels. The second benefit, and another major one, is that having slightly less weight over the front end helps to keep the front end a little bit looser, which in turn helps the car to turn in a fairly loose manner under hard braking or acceleration. So a double barrel benefit in effect. Now I've got the downforce set as high as possible on this particular model, and there is a decent amount of downforce on it actually. As far as the gearbox, of course this is not a top speed tune, so I've gone for an auto setting of 205, then individual gears of 5.2, 3.4, 2475, 1925, 1550 and 1.3, with, as you can see, a final drive of 2.9. Now I haven't tested the top speed on this car. It is over 200 miles per hour, but I'm not sure exactly how far it will go. Maybe 220-ish, depends on the red line, so adjust that as necessary according to your needs, of course. But overall, that's the build that I've done. 580 pp, 600 horsepower, 1200 kilos. So that's it for my personal spec of the build. Now let's of course though take it out to a track to see how it performs. Now, the Cadillac Cien does have, especially in fully tuned form, more of a tendency to be a bit skittish, a bit twitchy, and a bit tail-happy, more so, I would say, than many other supercars, because at the end of the day, this, of course, is not a track-tested machine. It's just a concept car with a great engine. That being said, with the right tuning, you can bring this car under control, and it will make a very good competition machine. Overall, I'm very happy with the way this car turned out with this tuning. It feels like a GT class race car, the kind of thing that could have competed in the Le Mans against Corvettes and Vipers, etc. And the handling is much stiffer than before, which is deliberate. That means that even on lower grade tyres, it's less inclined to be sliding around all over the place, and overall, it's extremely quick. Not as quick as fully tuned, of course, but quick nonetheless. So if you do decide to use this build, obviously I hope you find it fun, first and foremost, but also competitive in racing, at whatever power or PP level you decide to use it for. And that's it overall for this particular custom build. So if you'd like to keep up with other custom and also replica builds like this in the future, be sure to hit subscribe down below for that. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.